My next guest has spent over 30 years practicing pediatric and adolescent medicine and counseling teens and their parents. For Father's Day, she's here to discuss the crucial relationship between fathers and their kids. Her latest, You've Got This, Unleashing the Hero Dad Within, is out in paperback. Please welcome back to the program Dr. Meg Meeker. She joins us from Michigan via satellite. Meg, thanks for being here.
Thanks so much, Raymond.
Now tell me, there is this negative stereotype of dads that persist in the culture at large, and I think get in the heads of a lot of dads. Why does that continue, given what we're seeing in society, where in the African American community, 70% of children have no dads at home? In the white and Latino communities, 45% are dadless homes. Why does this negative stereotype persist, and what happens to the kids left behind?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think the stereotype of dads being sort of bumbling idiots who really aren't necessary in homes has been building over the past 20 years. And I think there are a lot of different reasons for it. I think that the women's movement that started in the 1970s began all of that, sort of saying we're the ones that are important, moms are the ones that are important, dads aren't really necessary. And then media jumped on board, and Hollywood realized, well, we can make a lot of money off of making the dads the butt of everyone's jokes. So it just kind of spiraled from there. And I think that as a pediatrician, one of the things that disturbs me the most about it is that I see firsthand the devastating effects on kids when they don't have either a dad engaged or a dad at home, because the research is crystal clear that kids who have a dad in the home or very engaged in their lives, not a perfect dad, but a good enough dad, do so much better in life. They finish high school, they go on to college, they have a higher self-esteem, they test better on tests, less likely to be depressed, have anxiety, you name it. So it's a really important issue that I really think we need to address, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do with You've Got This.
Now, tell me, what is the big mistake dads make when they don't ask themselves, how do my kids see me? Why is that an important question? You pose it in the book.
Well, yeah, it's very important because I think that pretty universally dads devalue their importance in their kids' lives. Dads very typically say to me something like this, you know, I really want to be a better dad, but I know I'm failing. And I think that it's very common for dads to see themselves as not doing a very good job. You know, I work with the NFL, I work with all sorts of dads across the country, and I'd say the number one problem is that dads really don't see themselves through their kids' eyes, which is, you are critical to my development. You, dad, are the center of my world. Most dads don't know that, and they don't feel like that.
And tell me, in what ways are dads important to girls and then to their sons? What are the,
dads,
what do they look for? What do each sex look for from their dad?
That's a great question. Dads play a very different role in a daughter's life and a son's life. We'll look at boys first. You know, boys are very visual people, and in order to grow up to be a good man, they need to see a good man in action. And a lot of men grow up and literally don't know how to act as a dad because they've never seen that. It's critically important for a boy to move into manhood by seeing a dad and feeling that he's valuable in his dad's eyes. You know, a boy can feel good in his mom's eyes, and it's great. You can be a great mom to a son and do a really great job. But there's something about that father figure that makes a son feel very important and very valued as a man. A daughter, on the other hand, needs to learn how to relate to men through her dad. She learns what it's like to be treated as a valuable woman. She watches how her dad treats her mother or other women, and she learns how her father treats her. And she grows up to expect good behavior from a boyfriend or her father if she's grown up with a father who treats her well.
What's the secret about kids that dads often miss? You mentioned this secret. What is it?
Yeah, I think the secret that dads often miss is that what kids really want in life and what really shapes their identity and great character is time with mom and dad. And I think that dads are so quick to sort of sign their kids up for soccer or football or dance or whatever, believing that their kids will grow into great people as long as they have enough experiences outside of the home. But that's entirely untrue. Kids have told me over 30 years that what really makes them great people and changes who they become as adults is face-to-face time with their dads and their mothers, particularly their dads.
You know, dads often feel, I think, uncomfortable and unsure, particularly in this Me Too moment. What would you advise dads? I mean, you know, it's as if masculinity has suddenly become toxic, and even the things normally wired into us to attract those of the opposite sex, you know, are now somehow verboten. What do you tell dads? What do you instruct them in this particular moment that we find ourselves in?
Well, I think it's really important for dads to push back against the anti-male sentiment. And it's real, it's strong, and it's gaining momentum. You know, I think the Me Too movement has really been hijacked. And there's a lot of anti-dad, anti-male, really male bashing out there, which really is devastating to young girls because girls grow up not trusting men, disliking men, and that's really confusing for girls because they desperately want to trust their dads, to stay connected to their dads, to be loved by their dads. But if they grow up feeling, and men can't buy into this, that men aren't to be trusted, that's devastating to kids. So dads need to push back and they need to feel comfortable with their masculine identity and engage it. Don't be ashamed of it. Be proud of it. Be present. And, you know, trust your instincts as a dad. You really can't go too far wrong if you keep doing that.
I want to shift gears a little bit. We've been seeing a lot of, in the news certainly, of high-profile suicides. Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain. Suicide is rising at an alarming rate. I read a study the other day where we're seeing a 25% increase in suicide. Why, Meg Meeker? And are you seeing this in the young as well?
You know, I am, and I don't know if we've talked about this before because you and I have done a number of things together, but anxiety in kids is rising in frequency and it's occurring in younger and younger kids. The same is true with depression. And I think there are a lot of factors, but primarily remember, depression in kids is about a sense of self-hatred, and kids learn to hate themselves when they feel unloved, when nobody spends any time with them, and when they feel very isolated, when they live, if you will, in their own worlds. And with technology and screens, kids don't live engaged with their family and present. They live very isolated and disconnected, even though they can be in the same house. So isolation, loneliness, sadness, feeling like they're not valued or loved is really what drives a lot of depression in kids.
Do you recommend banning devices in the bedrooms to keep everybody in public areas and in the den and in the family room?
Oh, absolutely. You know, parents should know, even parents of 18-year-olds should know what their kids are looking at, what they're doing, how much time they're spending on devices. And I think a lot of parents feel overwhelmed and they think there's no way I can know what my kids are doing. But you know, you can. You've got to scan what your kids are looking at and what you're doing. And actually, I think spouses should do that. You know, you don't live with secrets in your home. That's what makes a great marriage, and that's what makes great parent-daughter and parent-son relationships, is everything's in the open, there's accountability, and you really can help protect your kids, and even teenagers need to be protected from themselves and what comes across devices.
What would be your final bit of advice, not for dads, but for those around dad, for moms and the kids, to make that man a better dad?
Change the way you talk to the man or the father in your life. You know, men need respect, to be great men and great fathers. And I think that women fall down over and over, and I found this with myself, by talking down to men, criticizing them. So turn that. Speak up to men, respect men, be polite to men. If you do that as a wife in your home, you're teaching your children to do that as well. Dads get better, and the whole family gets stronger.
And what are dads missing in your estimation as you watch them? What are they not doing that they should be doing in family life, both to their sons and their daughters, or with their sons and their daughters?
I think it's really simple, Raymond. I think they need to show up and they need to be present. When they walk in their homes at night after a day of work, turn off your cell phones. Understand your kids are reading you constantly for information about how you see them. If you look them in the eye, if you talk to them, if you listen to them, if you engage them, even 10 minutes more a day, your relationship with your child will improve 180% for sure.
Dr. Meg Meeker, you're always great. Thanks for being here. Come see us again. You've got this. Unleashing the Hero Dad Within by Dr. Meg Meeker is available now at bookstores everywhere and online.